The other stock that we want to focus on is Monnet Ispat. The stock has rallied about 15% today after the company successfully won the Gari Palma 4x7 block in Chhattisgarh at a bid price of over 2,600 rupees a ton. Sandeep Jajodia, the CMD of Monnet Ispat Energy, now joins in. Hi, Mr. Jajodia. Thanks much for joining in, and congratulations on your win of Gari Palma 4x7. From what we understand, you were quite aggressive in this bid. So we want to understand from you now, why is it that you were so keen on this block? I mean, isn't it that it has a slightly inferior grade?
Well, you see, that's true. But the question in front of all prior allottees of coal blocks is that should they shut their plant or should they get a coal mine to run it? The thing is that prior allottees have been given a very step-brotherly treatment. For example, the sponge iron industry. The sponge iron industry came into being only post-allocation of coal blocks. They were given coal blocks by the government, and then they were asked to put up the committed investments. All of us have put thousands of crores in as investment, and suddenly the coal blocks were taken away. And now we are to compete with other sectors such as aluminium. That captive power plants have been asked to compete and bid in the same blocks which are allocated for iron and steel. Cement have been allowed to bid in the blocks which was meant for iron and steel. So we don't have a choice. We have a back against the wall, and we have only one question to say: should we shut our plants and render 2,000, 3,000, 4,000 people out of job, or should we take the block at any cost? That is the only option left in front of us. But having said that, it's expensive considering that, but the mining is very easy. The mining cost is low because it's open cast mining, and there's a washery in the mine itself, so which can be used then to enhance the grade of the coal. So things can be worked around as far as costs are concerned. But why we went for it, I would say in one line, we have no other choice. I mean, the sponge iron industry is left with no choice.
Yes, Sandeep, point made, and thanks again, for joining in. You lost Gari Palma 4x5, but you won the 4x7. And what we understand is that the new mine actually has a higher capacity compared to what you earlier had. Can you tell us what the coal requirement is, and now what will be the landed cost of, this landed cost from the new coal mine?
So, first of all, to answer your first part, it may have we as a company are eligible for this mine. So obviously that's the reason that we were technically qualified. So the reserves of the mine completely suit our requirements. That's the answer, the part one. The part two is that, as I said, we will increase the grade by washing the coal and bring it to our plant. Our plant is only 55 kilometers away from this mine. By the way, this mine is just next to our earlier current mine, which is 4x5, which we lost. So we share the boundary with our current mine. So the logistics is the same, the costs are the same. So it's not much different, except that the grades are lower, which because of the washery being in the mine, we will enhance the grades. But, and in fact, if I could go one more step, the end of it, we would be a little bit cheaper than to have brought coal from the mine at the rates which it had gone up to. So for 4x5, Hindalco went up to 3,500. Now that's completely prohibitive. It is completely unviable for sponge iron industry. And another thing I would like to underline here is that for the aluminium industry, this is a fuel. Coal is a fuel. For the sponge iron industry, it is a raw material. So there's a huge difference. For them, the raw material is bauxite. They use the coal to fuel their power plant to run their smelters. Power plants require low-grade coal. The blocks allocated for iron and steel have relatively higher grade of coal, because sponge iron industry can only use higher grade of coal, because for them it's a raw material, not a fuel. So it's an unfair competition. That whole tendering procedure is faulted according to me, and it's completely unfair to the existing sponge iron industry.
Okay. Mr. Jajodia, well, first up, thanks very much for your candid comments. That's really appreciated. But can you give us a sense of how you're planning to fund this purchase of your coal block?
So we have to give a bank guarantee. So we'll approach our working capital bankers. I'm sure they'll be very supportive because it will only going to add revenue to the company. It is only going to help the company enhance its production of coal or sponge iron and thereafter steel. So I don't see any difficulty. We have to only give a bank guarantee, and then we have to give this premium which I have quoted, the so-called premium, on per ton basis as we mine. So we mine, consume this coal in our sponge iron, sell the coal, get the money and pay the government. So it's just going to be a part of the... It's just that our costs have gone up, relatively gone up. But Monnet Ispat as a company will not get so much affected because we are just about to commission our iron ore pellet plant. Now that will bring down our iron ore costs dramatically. So it will, to a large extent, I mean, the margins will be taken away by coal, but we will yet be lower than the cost we had till a few months ago.
Okay, so just a few numbers.
We don't really lose in the bottom line.
Okay, so just a few numbers, Sandeep. Can you tell us the extent of bank guarantees? Can you give us the number that the company has to furnish? And you indicated that because of the iron ore pellet plant, your costs would come down. If, by how much?
So the coal is going to add about 2,000 rupees cost for us per ton of sponge iron, and the iron ore is going to come down by 3,000 rupees. So we will be a net saver of 1,000 rupees.
Okay.
Now we put up the pellet plant and we put up a 500 crore investment to actually come down by 3,000 rupees because we never expected such a strange situation, where the coal mine would be cancelled and then we'll have to bid for it. So out of the 3,000, unfortunately, we'll have to give away 2,000 to coal. But we will still yet be a net gainer of 1,000 rupees. So instead of 3,000, we'll get reduced to 1,000.
Okay, so you've got a lot of capacities that have come on stream. I understand maybe because of that, but your finance costs are almost 20% of your top line. What is the plan to bring down your debt? I mean, how much debt do you have currently?
So what we are doing is that we are going through a kind of a restructuring of our finances, where we are trying to put in some EPCG guarantees because we have some exports in the company, and we're trying to discount those exports and take some foreign loans and repay a rupee loan, which will have an effect of almost about 300 basis points on our interest costs. So, and we are also trying to reduce costs by selling some non-core assets. So we are trying to sell some non-core assets, get in some cash, pay back to the banks, and make an overall adjustment to, in the next 6 months, bring down our net debt by almost about 20%.
Okay,
so that's plan number one.
Go ahead.
Plan number two is that we are not really over leveraged because we are a 1.5 million ton steel mill. We've got 6,000 crore debt on our balance sheet, which makes us a 4,000 crore per million. Now, if you take other people in the peer group in the steel industry, the thumb rule is about 6,000. So we are still quite well off. It's just that the markets are really bad currently, and we're having difficulties to optimize the capacity, which I hope with the new government coming in and with all the talks of large infrastructure development, etc., steel demand will go up and we'll be able to optimize the capacity. Having done that, I don't see us much in as an over leveraged company.
Okay, Sandeep, we'll leave it at that. Thanks so much, for joining in, and wish you good luck.